Hey everyone, hope you're having another great week. Welcome back to the PIMD podcast. I'm Dr. Peter Kim, I'm your host, and I'm so excited about today's episode because today's episode is a little bit different. It feels a lot more personal. Now I get to imagine that I'm sitting down across from my younger self, pretty fresh out there from residency, and I get to tell them what I wish someone had told me back then. So whatever phase you're in, whether you're just starting out, you're a little bit more advanced, hopefully what I share will benefit you too. So stay tuned.
Welcome to the Passive Income MD podcast, where we talk about creating your ideal life through multiple streams of income. If you enjoy hearing about this stuff, make sure to hit subscribe. Now let's get on with the show.
Hey everyone, have you ever thought that before? I'm sure you did. Man, I wish I knew then what I know now, right? There's a popular song that goes just like that. I mean, one of my favorite movies is Back to the Future. It's my favorite trilogy of all time. Of course, my first one's my favorite, but in Back to the Future 2, if you remember, Biff grabs the sports almanac with all the sports scores in it from the future, gives it to his former or younger self, and he ends up using it for bad things. But I would venture to say a lot of us would go back and give ourselves knowledge that would help us, benefit us in the future, and benefit all those who are important to us that live around us. And so in this episode, I'm going to imagine that I'm talking to my former self. What would I tell myself? And I think one of the first things that I would say is that investing isn't optional if you want freedom. It's a necessity. It'd be creating a little bit of urgency for myself back then, that it's something that's important for me to learn right away. Because back then, when I graduated from fellowship, I got my dream job. I thought I was completely set. I didn't really actually need to learn much about investing. I could work in medicine and do what I wanted to do and live the good life. So instead of learning about investing initially, when I wanted more money, I would just work harder. I'd pick up more shifts. And I thought that doing that and saving more would just be enough. But I've learned that true wealth, it's not built by saving money. Well, not that alone. It's by strategically planning a roadmap for your money to create more money. It's to multiply your impact without you putting in more time. To do that, you have to start seeing yourself as an investor, not someday in the future, but now. I would want my younger self to understand that mindset from the very beginning and tell him you're not just a physician. You're the visionary. You're the CEO of your life. And part of that is learning how to manage your finances and grow and build that future roadmap for yourself. So I also tell myself during all those downtimes, between cases, when I was sitting in that call room and nothing was happening, I was waiting for my next patient to call for an epidural. Instead of just watching Netflix the whole time, I would spend more time on things that would be investments for my future, that would help me grow. I thought I had all the time in the world, but what I didn't realize is things just get busier and busier later on. And that time, in my younger years, I had all the time to learn this stuff. I would tell them to start with books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Die with Zero, to listen to podcasts, even though they weren't a huge thing back then. Learn stuff on YouTube and help them understand that knowledge compounds. You start small, you build on it, you learn more, you grow, and it continues to compound on itself. And later on, that means you're going to make less mistakes. If I'd known this, probably some of the first investments I made, I would have been a lot more knowledgeable. In fact, when I first started investing, I didn't even know how you got paid. I just guessed that I hoped it would happen. So don't be like me back then. Be smarter earlier. Next, I would tell my younger self to know your numbers. I mean, that's something that many of us still don't know today. In fact, every so often, I've got to go back and look at my numbers to know exactly where I'm at. How many of you know your net worth? How many of you know the assets that you have, your liabilities? How many of you actually know your quote unquote profit each month of what's left over? If you don't know that, how do you know how much you can put away to invest? How do you actually even know if you're on the right track to where you want to be? That'll give you a great understanding of your foundation, your baseline, so that you know where you're starting from. It took me many years to actually realize and understand that was important. I was just so focused on making money. I didn't even know what I had. I didn't even know my net worth. I didn't know my assets and liabilities. I didn't understand that process. If I had, I might have allocated my investments differently. It definitely would have changed the way I approach investments overall. And to be honest with you, it's easier to calculate your numbers when you're younger. And I would have tracked them over time. I now do that. I track all of my numbers every single quarter so I can know that I'm making progress. It helps me understand my allocation, where my money is, what I'm doing right, what I should be adjusting or changing according to the current markets or environment. It also tells me where I'm at. It's my scorecard. And I would have started then because you probably have heard that concept. You don't improve what you don't measure. That's a great concept for any business. Like if you're running a practice and you don't even know your numbers, how do you know if you're profitable or you're doing better? How do you know who to hire? How do you know how much to charge? How do you know if you need to work more or less or bring in an associate? That's something I would tell my younger self to start doing today.
Hey everyone, this is Peter Kim. I've got some exciting news for those of you thinking about taking your career beyond clinical medicine.
PIMDCon 2025 is officially happening this September 25th through 27th in Newport Beach, California. Now, this isn't your typical conference. It's designed specifically for physicians like you, those who are exploring side hustles, thinking about starting a business, or wanting to learn how to invest in passive real estate. Now, at PIMDCon, you'll hear from top experts, investors, and entrepreneurs who've been in your shoes and are ready to share what works. Now, we built this event with you in mind, with tailored tracks focusing on real estate investing as well as entrepreneurship. So whether you're just starting out or looking to scale, there's something here for you. And if you can't join us in person, we've made it easy for you to participate virtually from anywhere. Now, if you've been thinking about creating more freedom in your life, financially or professionally, or time, now this is your chance to take the next step. So head over to PIMDCon.com to grab your ticket. I hope to see you in Newport Beach. It's going to be an incredible weekend of learning, connection, and inspiration.
Now, this is an easy one. Of course, I tell myself to start investing sooner and start investing in real estate sooner. Real estate is not a get-rich-quick type thing. And I hope nobody's selling you that idea or concept, but it takes time. It takes compounding. And just like anything that requires compounding, the earlier you start, the quicker you start to see impact or effects. So for anyone who actually feels like it's too late, just get started. Because if you start now, you'll be so much further along than if you started 5 years from now or 10 years from now. I'll tell myself, just get started in something. Learn by doing. I would also tell myself, stop chasing high returns. Early on in my investing career, I just went for the highest number. Who doesn't want the highest returns? But I realized that highest returns usually come along with higher level of risk. I would focus on cash flow. Not the big return numbers at the end, but how much is it putting in my pocket each month? That matters because we all live our lives by monthly paychecks. We also live our lives by monthly bills. So the bigger the cash flow and distributions we get each month from our real estate, it impacts the way we use our time. And this last thing I tell myself, you've heard me say this again and again, I wouldn't do this alone. Now, when I first started, I actually tried to figure it out on my own. I didn't even know who else I could talk to. Felt silly talking to other doctors in the hospital about this. I felt like they would question me or judge me. So I quietly listened to podcasts on my own, read books on my own. But everything changed when I joined committed communities. I joined investor groups. I joined masterminds. I found mentorship. All of that accelerated my learning. My confidence grew. It helped me avoid mistakes. So I tell my younger self, don't try to be the hero yourself. Leverage people who have already done what you want to do. It's the best shortcut that you'll ever find. If I could look at the young Peter in the eye, I'd say, you don't need to know everything to begin. Just get started. Read, learn, take action. It's not about how many hours you spend learning about it. It's how many iterations you get through. Don't wait to feel ready because you probably never will. You're always learning. Every decision you make, you'll learn how to do things better or learn to avoid making bad decisions. Again, even wrong decisions, they're going to shape you into an investor and the person that you're meant to be moving forward. Your journey is not going to be perfect. It just needs to be yours and personally yours. You make your own decisions. Now, I know I can never talk to my former self. I don't know, maybe one of you invent something someday, like a flying DeLorean, but it's always cool to think about. The good thing is I have my children that I can share this with. They're not ready yet, but I'll start teasing these things as we go. I hope you enjoy this. If you're looking for a community, definitely check out Passive Real Estate Academy. It's our signature program where we help take people from zero to little knowledge on this topic to a place of confidence when it comes to investing passively in syndications and funds. We do it as a community, we do it with coaching, and we do it with mentorship. You can check it out at PassiveRealEstateAcademy.com. The reason we do all of this, we build all these resources, it's to help you create your ideal life. I'm constantly working on mine. I know you are as well. So let's ride this journey together. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great week.
Enjoy the show? Let me know by dropping a review in the podcast app you're listening to us in. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit subscribe. Join thousands of physicians who are also on this journey to creating their ideal lives through multiple streams of income. Learn more at our website, PassiveIncomeMD.com. Thanks again for allowing me to be a part of your journey. See you next time.